Hey everyone, welcome back to the video. I hope you all are doing great. Today we go down our memory lane like before. We'll be talking about the journey of the evolution of data storage from clunky disk to boundless cloud storage. So, without wasting more time, let's get started.
Another day, another box of history saved from the dump.
And here are a bunch of floppy disks.
They can hold up to 1.4 megabytes of memory, not even enough for a single song file. But
Where would we be without digital storage? We'd be stuck in traffic trying to take our film to get developed at the drugstore and might even still be using scrolls or something. But believe it or not, the long odyssey from the era before electricity to storing terabytes of information on pint-sized SSDs actually begins with paper. Specifically, it began with punch cards, which were
Compared with storing records in an old filing cabinet, digital storage can feel unlimited. And storing your favorite pictures in the cloud feels more durable than putting them in a photo album. But the hard drives behind digital storage can break. They can experience mechanical failure, or their formats could become obsolete. They can be harmed by dust or heat.
Data storage has come a long way from the early days of punch cards and magnetic tape. The need to store and retrieve large amounts of data has driven the development of new technologies, each one building on the advancements of its predecessors.
When I look at a floppy disk today, I look at something that's valuable and that I use. And yet, when most people look at it, they'll look at it almost as a joke.
In fact, next to paper punch cards, this magnetic tape is the oldest form of computer storage technology that exists. It's the same stuff that you'd find inside a VHS cassette, a technology so antiquated that it predates the polio vaccine and Pierce Brosnan. But over the past few years, out of the blue, the amount of data being stored on this sort of ancient tape actually started to go up, while hard drive sales started to tank. And there's a pretty good reason.
Like memory sticks, hard drives, or magnetic tape. In just a few years, it'll take about 10 billion of these to store all the data humanity has generated.
But if you store that in DNA, each of us carries around enough DNA in our bodies to store all of that information.
And that's exactly what Hyunjin Park and his colleague Nathaniel Roquet want to do, store huge amounts of data on DNA.
Well, let's talk about each era one by one. First one was the floppy disk era, also known as the gigabytes era. Remember those big square shaped thingies? Well, yes, that is the floppy disk. Invented in the year 1970s, was a revolutionary idea for the storage space. It literally provided you a whopping of 1.4 megabytes. In consideration, it's around a million bytes together. Let's take an instance. You want to store your entire movie collection in one. Well, that's how it would be. Back then, the companies that really dominated were the Sony and the IBM. They literally dominated in providing you the offering of this data safe as quickly as possible. Up next, we have the rise of hard drives. Can say as the rise of capacity too. Well, in the year 1980s came the magnetic platter type on the hard drive, which entered this game. Now, this gave a huge lead in the storage space from megabytes to gigabytes. Yes, almost a billion of storage space or bytes for you. Now, this was also like the revolutionary thing that at that time, and companies like Seagate and Western Digital were the companies of leading in that market. These provided for the personal computers and also business alike. Now, let's talk about the era of CDs and DVDs, the entry of the optical disc. In the late 1980s and the 90s was the entry of the optical disc as we know. Well, the CDs were the revolution for how we used to listen to music, and DVDs were the revolution for how we would see the movies and how we would play games that we know at that era. Now, companies like Sony and Philips were the leading ones which literally dominated this era like anything, offering reliability and the highest storage space at that point of time, around 1.47 GB at that point of time, which was literally the most at any point that we had before than this. Up next we have is the flash drive era, the early 2000s, which we know as the flash drive era. Now this tiny portable device literally revolutionized the way how we saw data transfer. It provided you a trillion bytes altogether, which we know it as terabytes today. Now this small device revolutionized the way how we could transfer one data to another place. Companies like SanDisk, Kingston were like that household names which became popular like anything. Now this small device was used to take your data from one place to another place like anything. Lastly, let's talk about the data going virtual, or we can say the boom of the cloud storage. Apart from all the mentioned above, the actual game changer arrived in the year or the late years of 2000. Companies such as Microsoft, OneDrive, Google Drive, and Dropbox offered you virtual spaces where you could store your data, also allowing you to access your data from any device from anywhere. This completely eliminated the need of a physical device to store your data. Today, giants of cloud storage such as AWS, that is Amazon Web Services, and Microsoft Azure cater businesses with handling their massive data and as per the needs. Now, let's talk about the fall of the giants, how these established companies literally fell down. Well, as I say, it's not sunshine and rainbow for everyone, and similar was the case for these companies. The rise of the giants, especially in the storage field of the cloud, were the reasons why these companies fell down. Let's talk about it one by one. As we have only two, let's understand it. First of all, was the one, if you remember, is that iconic yellow box. Yes, Kodak, a market leader in the photographic film in that particular field. It failed to adopt the digital revolution of how digital cameras came in. It completely, underestimated the way how digital camera can take over later on, and also it underestimated how online photo storing would be a difficult one at that point of time. Later on in the upcoming years, it became bankrupt in the year 2012, but due to this, the big giant fell down. Second one is the storage media manufacturers. Companies like Lomega, which used to provide zip drives, and companies like Maxell, which used to provide they were the leading ones in providing the floppy disk in CDs, also failed to adapt to this space. They underestimated the way how flash drive would play a major role in the flash drive era, and also the rise of the cloud storage thing that came at that point of time. First of all, their market share came down, and eventually their companies also fell down at that point of time. Now, particularly talking about these rivalry, one of the key rivalry that's happening right now, or we can say it as the new rivalry of storage, the cloud storage, we can say it as, is the AWS versus the Microsoft Azure. Literally, these two tech titans are fighting like anything to have their leg up in the cloud storage network. Both the companies have the best competition, and some of the numbers that can be told is in the Q1 of 2024, AWS literally had 33% of the market share, but giving competition to that was the Microsoft Azure, around 31% of market share. Both of them giving the competition in the field of innovation, and also a leg up for both of them in the pricing of the platform that they provide, or the cloud storage that they provide, especially for their consumers. This could be the proper rivalry of storage at this era which we are looking into. Now let's keep all of this aside and let's talk about the future of storage of data. Currently, the cloud storage could be the king, but for sure it's not the future of all. There will be much more possibilities which could literally bring this off, and there'll be another one which will be a game changer and which will be the next king. But it's all about how and what is going to be. So let's talk about it. The first one is the SSDs. Yes, the solid state drive. Remember when I said the 2000 was the year where the physical format was completely wiped away and the cloud storage was the one which eliminated all of these. This could be the one which could bring back that physical format back into the business, where this lightning speed of transferring your data from one place to another place, from one device to another device, can be brought back once again with the help of SSDs, as it provides the maximum storage capacity with the transfer of data as quickly as possible. I think SSD could be the next game changer if there's a little bit advancement in it. The second one could be a little advanced at this point of time, but I'm pretty sure there is something in the future which is waiting for it. That is the holographic storage of data. Now, this format where your data will be completely stored in the laser format, which will be later encoded in the three-dimensional way, where you could store the data or your information as quickly as possible in the laser format, which will be easy to transfer also at that point of time. The third one is going to be a little bit advanced at this point of time, but once bought, can say it's going to be a complete game changer. It's a complete futuristic idea, and I'm pretty sure people are working on it. So it is the DNA storage. Now, this could be a funny thing at this point of time. It could be, what is he talking about? Is this even possible? But let me say, scientists are working on this. Scientists are working on how it could be bought in a change where the storage system can be bought and could be stored in the human body, the DNA strands, where the major effect of your memory loss can be completely removed with the help of this DNA storage. I think this is going to be a revolutionary idea if bought at some point of time in the future. But for sure, it's also going to bring that storage leg up, where it's going to give you that density as well as longevity. I'm very curious to know when this will be coming up, as I'm very excited to have this thing where you'll have a small chip inside your DNA strands, where you'll be able to store your data completely inside it, which will be millions of informations completely inside, and maybe thousands of information stored inside that small chip thingy in your DNA strands. I think somewhere in the corner, Elon is definitely looking into this too. So fingers crossed, let's hope for the best. Now, coming to the end of this video, all I can say is this is all futuristic and this is all about the old times of how storage system worked. But as the technology evolved, so did the storage too. There was a much more advancement in every single era and every single year. And I'm pretty sure whenever there is another advancement, whenever there's something new coming into the technology, so will happen it for the storage field also. So let's be curious to know about all of those, and particularly I and my team would like to know what you think about this. Do let us know in the comment section. All I can say for now is that's it for this video. See you in the next one.